This week, you'll learn the difference between prevent and avoid. We also talk about some Chilean slang and answer some more of your questions. Welcome to
Aprender Inglés con Reza y Craig.
Hi, I'm Reza.
And my name's Craig.
And with nearly 50 years of teaching between us, we'll help you improve your English and take it to the next level. How are things, Craig?
Hot. Very, very hot. Really hot and sweaty. Sweaty because we're recording this in August, but thankfully at Reza's flat where we're still nice and cool and fresh in the air conditioning because mine's still broken. How are you doing?
I'm fine, enjoying the cool air conditioning, I must admit. The reason why we go on about it so much, to go on about something is to repeat and repeat, is because listeners who've been listening for a long time, perhaps some hardened AIRC-aholics, that's AIRC-aholics, people who've been listening for a long time, know that my flat was in a very bad state for a long time. And in many, many podcasts, I talked about doing it up, reformar. And finally I did. And I got air conditioning in. And now I get to enjoy the benefit of the air conditioning. And poor Craig, at the minute, his air conditioning is temporarily broken. So that's why we're recording here. So thank goodness I did la reforma. Thank goodness I did up my flat.
I'll second that, absolutely. First this week we have a voice message from our friend Eurico from Brazil.
Hi, Greg and Reza. My name is Eurico. I'm from Brazil. I've been living in Belo Horizonte City here. Long time no see you. Well, as you know, I went to London for my first exchange last year. When I arrived there, I got, in the first time, B2 level. I made my exchange about 2 months. When I finished my course, I got B1 level. Do you believe, Rosenberg? I don't know. I got frustrated about my result. But little by little, step by step, I'm gonna speak English very well and fluently. Keep doing this fantastic job. See you later.
Thank you very much for getting in touch again, Eurico, and sending us your message. Really sorry about the B1 result that you got from that second test. There could be a couple of reasons for that. It could be that the test was not the same to measure your level. It could be that on the day you took the test, that the questions were different. There could be many reasons why you didn't get the same or even a better level the second time, but I'm really pleased to hear that you're continuing to study. You're going to keep with the English, keep on, continue studying, and I'm sure you're going to see improvement very soon.
Yes, Eurico, I'm sorry to hear as well. I'm a bit surprised. I can only repeat what Craig said. We all have good days and bad days. Maybe you just had a bad day and you were a bit unlucky.
There's one thing I will say, that your English, Eurico, sounds more fluent to me, because I do remember your early messages that you sent us, what was it, maybe a year ago or more than a year ago. Your English wasn't as fluent. You are speaking a lot more fluently, which is wonderful. One thing I would suggest is now you really must focus on your accuracy. Focus on your accuracy. And we'll give you some examples. In your message, you said, keep doing this fantastic job. The adjective is fantastic. Make sure you're getting those adjectives correct. You also said, I got frustrate, but to frustrate is the verb. And again, you need the adjective, frustrated. I got frustrated, or I was frustrated.
Another thing we noticed is that you said, long time no see you. We know what you mean. And what you say is logical, but it's wrong because it's a fixed expression. That means it never changes. We just say, long time no see. That's it. There's no other form. Long time, no see. So don't add the word you.
And you went to the UK and you said you made my exchange. Better to say I was an exchange student. You were an exchange student. And also when you told us about the second test where you got the B1 level, you said, do you believe, Reza and Craig? Better to say, can you believe that, Reza and Craig? Can you believe that? As an expression of surprise.
Yeah, because if you say, do you believe Reza and Craig? It's like you're asking somebody if you think that Reza and Craig tell the truth. Do you believe me? Do you think I'm lying? So it's very important to add that word, that.
So you are speaking a lot more fluently, Yuriko, which is a good thing. And you also have some very nice expressions. You said little by little, step by step. You said, I'm going to speak English very well, more fluently, which is also correct. And you're using your verb tenses very well. And I think I remember in the beginning, you weren't very clear on how to use your verb tenses, especially the past tenses. But now you're doing it. So you're saying, I went to London. When I arrived there, I got, etc. When I finished my course, I got. So your verb tenses sound okay to me. Now you have to focus on the adjectives, for example, and more on the accuracy of the grammar you're using. So slow down, make a list of your common mistakes, and keep working on your grammar.
Next up, we've got another voice message from somewhere not too far from Brazil. It's Jose Ignacio from Chile.
Hi, Rez and Greg, how are you doing? I hope you're very, very good. I am Jose Ignacio Silva from Chile, and thank you very much for your amazing podcast. Really, I have 3 months learning English, and your podcast has been very useful for me because I think the listening is one of the most difficult skills in English. Thank you very much. And I want to talk about a very typical Chilean word, which is weón and his derivatives. You can use this word for everything. For example, oh, can you give me this thing, please? O, ¿puedes pasarme esa weá, por favor? Or, oh, where is this guy? ¿Dónde está ese weón? Or, oh, you are very stupid. Oh, tú eres muy weón. So, I wonder if, do you have a similar word in the UK? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jose Ignacio, for your message. Really good to hear from you, and really interesting, that word huevón, which when I saw it written, I thought it was a big egg, because huevo is egg and huevón might be a big egg. But I had not heard that word before, so it was very interesting for me to check it on the internet and see how it's used.
Are you sure you've never heard it before, Craig? Because you've been in Chile, haven't you?
I have been to Chile, but I can't remember hearing it there. So maybe I did and I've forgotten.
Or maybe as a gringo, they didn't use it with you.
Possibly,
Maybe
yeah.
they thought, oh, he's not going to understand, so we won't use slang. But people do that. People modify their language and they avoid slang, don't they, with foreigners because they know you're not going to understand.
Yeah, it could be. Also, it was a long time ago, so maybe I've forgotten. Maybe I heard it and just didn't remember. Jose Ignacio said the word huevón and its derivates, I think you said, but it's better to say derivatives. Derivatives.
And also he said, I have 3 months learning English. Better to say present perfect continuous. I've been learning English for 3 months is the best way to say that.
I can't think of any word in English that we could use in place of huevón, but we do use the word mate in many different ways. For example, we use it to say friend or buddy, or, for example, hey mate, how's it going? Long time no see, which you could translate to Spanish as maybe tío, or in American English they might say man, hey man. In British English we say mate, hey mate, how's it going?
So that's in a fairly kind of positive way, like it's a friend, yeah, or an acquaintance. It could be in a negative way you use mate. You could say something like this. Imagine you're angry with someone. You say, listen, mate, I don't know what your problem is, but either you shut up or I punch your face. So clearly you're annoyed. So this listen, mate, you can use with a complete stranger. Even imagine this is someone in the street who for some reason has started to argue with you and you call him mate. Hey, mate. But he's not really your friend. He's not your mate in the sense of amiguito.
In fact, the person might answer, I'm not your mate. Don't call me mate. That's a very common response. Hey, mate, you've parked your car badly. I'm not your mate. Yeah.
I guess something similar would happen in Spanish. I think I've heard Spanish people say something like, oye, amigo, or amiguito, when they're a bit annoyed. And the other person saying, no soy tu amigo, yeah? So it's something similar in English.
You could also use mate when you're thanking someone. Say, cheers, mate. That's really nice of you to say that. And here you're saying thank you. Cheers, you use when you're drinking alcohol and you touch glasses.
Brindir.
Brindir. You could say cheers, mate, and mean thank you. Thank you very much. If you pass somebody something and you want to say thank you, say, hey, cheers, mate.
Another derogatory use, in other words, a negative use, is when you talk about a third person. So we already have used the derogatory version when you speak directly to someone, listen, mate, I don't know what your problem is, but I'm going to punch you in the face. So speaking directly to someone. Or if you're talking about a third person, and it's usually in a derogatory way, a negative way, you have a problem with two people. You say, hey, smart guys, eh? Well, you and your cocky mate can shove it up your beep. So you and your mate, so you just presume that they're kind of friends or your mate. It's derogatory. And I guess in Spanish you would say, oye, tú y tu amiguito, cuidado, eh? Something like that.
And of course, it's used as a synonym of friend very often. So to specify that somebody is a friend and there's no romantic involvement in the relationship, you could say, for example, she isn't my girlfriend, she's just a mate, just a friend.
Very important there, the word just is not optional. Just, she's a mate would be really confusing. You must use the word just. She's just a mate, nothing more. Because there's another meaning of mate, which isn't colloquial.
When it's a verb.
Could be a verb, to mate, or your mate is your partner. For example, animals often have mates. People, husbands and wives, you can call them mates. It's a little bit old-fashioned, but it can mean your partner. So when you say, hey, she's not my girlfriend, she's just a mate, that word just is very important, stressing that she's no more than a friend.
Jose Ignacio's message got me interested in Chilean slang, so we looked at Google to find some more, and I found the word la firme, which means the truth. And I don't know where that comes from. Maybe it comes from firmar, to sign something, perhaps. If you say te estoy diciendo la firme, means I'm telling you the truth.
Another one which we've discovered, we think, Chilean listeners, correct us if we're wrong because we're not sure, we need your feedback. Tuto, T-U-T-O, means being sleepy or tired. For example, me voy a mi casa, tengo tuto. I'm going to my house, I'm sleepy.
Had you heard that before?
No,
me neither.
Never.
Another one that's new to me, piola, which is used to describe a very quiet or timid person. Timid is shy, very quiet, maybe nervous. For example, Reza es bien piola. Reza is very quiet.
Craig, he's trying not to snigger when he says that. To snigger is to laugh, yeah. Laugh in a way which you're trying to control, but you can't quite control. That's a snigger, because I'm maybe not that quiet.
You are sometimes. Mino or mina, M-I-N-O or M-I-N-A, describes a person, a man or woman, who is considered good-looking. Mira este mino. Look at that handsome guy. So maybe in Spanish you'd say guapo or guapa. Apparently, in Chile, it's a mino or a mina. Eke mina.
Another one we've discovered is bacán, which is something or someone cool, something great. In American English, awesome.
Awesome.
Awesome, man.
Awesome, dude.
So that guy is awesome. A Chilean might say, ese weón es bacán. That guy is awesome. And there's another word I know, but I'm not sure if it's specifically Chilean. It might be South America in general, but I've heard Chileans say, obvio. Have you ever heard that?
No.
You're talking about something, and if it's obvious, they say obvio. Or huelga de decirlo in Spanish. There's no need to say that, or obviously. I think Spanish people from Spain, would say yeah.
Or claro.
Claro. Allá es like Valencia. Estaba en Valencia en agosto. Hacía mucho calor. Well, yeah, August in Valencia, of course, if Spanish people are going to say, yeah, claro.
Claro.
Chilean might say, I believe, or South American, obvio.
So it really surprised me to go into Chilean slang a little bit because it reminded me that even though it's the same language, I had not seen these words before. And the local slang, colloquialisms are very dependent on the country or the part of the country that you're in. And in a similar way with English, there are many different parts of the English-speaking world that have their specific slang, and even parts of the UK. And we've noticed, haven't we, the difference between London slang, Belfast slang. There are many differences.
And for example, the word mate, it's not used in the same way in the United States. They don't say mate.
No, they say man.
In the United States, mate only means friend. There's no other meaning.
But even they wouldn't say hello mate, they'd say hello man or hey man.
But in Australia, they use it, of course. Hello mate.
So there's one YouTube channel I'd like to recommend to you that I like very much, and it specialises in British dialects and slang. And the videos are made by someone called Korean Billy. Now, they're very colloquial expressions and words, and I would only recommend you looking at something that's relevant to you. He goes very deeply into, for example, words used in Liverpool, the way of speaking in Liverpool. I don't think there's much sense in looking at that video if you don't live in Liverpool or you're not thinking of going to Liverpool. And that's true for other parts of the UK and other parts of the world. So it's Korean Billy on YouTube. There's a link in the show notes. Go and have a look. I think you'll enjoy his videos, and the show notes can be found at inglespodcast.com/327.
Let's move on to another voice message a little bit further north than Chile. We've got Patty from Mexico.
Hi Risa, hi Greg. My name is Patty and I'm from Mexico. I think that I've been listening to your podcast for a year or maybe a little bit more. And well, first of all, I wanted to thank you for all your incredible job because I really have improved my English, especially my listening skills. I now can watch TV series or movies or listening to music without any kind of subtitles, and I can get pretty well what they're saying. And well, I also have improved my vocabulary, and because all your different topics, I wasn't encouraged before to send you a voice message because honestly I didn't know what to say. I get pretty nervous. I'm sorry if I hesitate a lot or my mistakes, if I made some mistakes. Well, anyway, I hope you're very well, and I was wondering if you could tell me the difference between avoid and prevent. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much and take care.
Thank you very much, Patty. It's lovely to hear from you. And that was a lovely message. Very clear. You have very, very good pronunciation. I do get the feeling that you are a little bit of a perfectionist. Is that right, Patty? When you said nervous and you corrected very well to the perfect pronunciation, nervous. I really like the way you're focusing on sounds, and that's why your speaking is very, very good and your pronunciation is excellent. So well done. Just a small thing with that nervous thing. The sound is the most common sound in English. It's called the schwa, and it sounds like this. It's the sound you make on Monday morning when you get up for work and you don't feel like working, and you wake and you go, It's a very lazy sound, and it's really, really common in English with words like teacher, brother, computer, a book, etc. So nervous, that vowel sound, you said very, very well the second time.
Thanks very much for your message, Patty. In fact, you said, thank you for your incredible job. We understand you, but you should say thank you for your incredible work. Yeah, job and work, they're two words that are often confused. A job is what you do as a profession, whereas work is what you're doing. It could be, for example, in your job. You could say, in my job, I have a lot of work to do, but my job is a teacher. Or I have a lot of work to do at home. So your job is your profession and work is what you do. So you should say thank you for your incredible work.
And well done, you said, I've been listening for, which some people often make the mistake with that present perfect continuous and the preposition. I've been listening for many months. I've been listening for a year. So very good use of present perfect continuous there, Patty.
Yeah, it's that classic mistake which you didn't make, because Spanish speakers think, llevo 2 años haciendo algo, or hago tal cosa desde. They use a present simple, but it has to be present perfect continuous in English, and you got it right, which shows a very good level.
Another thing we liked is your use of the word get in the meaning of understand. You said, I can get pretty well what they're saying. And that's a very uncommon use for someone learning English, that colloquial use of get, meaning understand. I can understand what they're saying. You said, I get what they're saying. So well done with that as well.
And also a very good colloquial use of pretty well. The word pretty doesn't just mean good looking. The word pretty can mean quite or very. So she pretty well, that means quite well, gets what we're saying. That's a very colloquial, authentic use.
So moving on to your question, Patty, you said, what's the difference between avoid and prevent? Now, this can be quite confusing because if you check the meaning in the dictionary, it says for avoid, evitar, esquivar, and for prevent, prevenir, evitar again. So there is, or there can be, some confusion with those words. What does prevent actually mean, Reza?
Well, maybe a nice simple way of putting it is, prevent is to take action to stop something before it starts. But notice that you have to take action to stop something before it starts. Whereas to avoid is just to stay away from something. So do nothing.
And here's an example. If you get a vaccination from COVID-19, we'll use coronavirus as an example because it's still very current at the moment. Maybe it's not when you're listening to this, but at the time of recording in August 2020, everybody's speaking about COVID-19. So getting a vaccination from COVID-19 would be a prevention. You're preventing getting contaminated with the virus. However, hiding in your home, staying in your house, having no contact with anyone would be avoidance. That's the noun of avoid. So you're avoiding going outside. You're avoiding getting in contact with people who may have the virus.
And indeed, as everybody knows or should know, for all illnesses, they say prevention is better than cure. So it's much better just not to get a disease in the first place than to have to do something to get rid of it. Prevention is better than cure.
Absolutely. Here's another example. The coronavirus pandemic prevented me from going on holiday this year. So maybe you noticed that the use of prevent is with the preposition from. You prevent someone from doing something. The pandemic prevented me from going on holiday this year. And of course, after the preposition, you need a gerund. So that's why we say going on holiday. Prevented me from doing something.
Avoid can also go with a gerund. For example, I avoided going, so that's gerund, ing. I avoided going anywhere crowded this summer because of the coronavirus. I avoided going. So avoid can also go with ing. Or it could be a noun if you don't have a verb. For example, avoid hangovers. Stay drunk. A hangover is una resaca. Evita las resacas. Mantente borracho. Avoid hangovers. Stay drunk.
Wonderful advice there, Reza. We're not suggesting you go out and get drunk. Or maybe we are.
No, we don't want you to be alcoholics. We just want you to be alcoholics.
Well said.
Drunk on our podcast.
If you're a new listener, an AIRC is Aprender Inglés con Reza y Craig. AIRC aholic.
Craig, I've got a question for you. If you could travel back in time and prevent only one historic event from happening, what would it be?
I was thinking about that question on the bus, and I think I would prevent the Second World War.
And just how would you do it?
Prevent Hitler being born, perhaps, because he really...
How would you do that? No, seriously. I can understand your desire to do it, but how would you stop him being born? Would you prevent his mother conceiving him?
I would pay an assassin to kill him before he came to power. I mean, it's been done with wonderful people like Martin Luther King and JFK, John Kennedy. So, yeah, why not kill Hitler before he caused the Holocaust? But maybe World War I, because if you could prevent the assassination of the Archduke Ferdinand to stop World War I happening, you'd save millions of lives as well. What about you? What would you prevent happening?
I think probably the same as you, yeah. Probably avoiding the birth of Hitler, because really he, more than anybody else, caused the Second World War, which has been a huge negative effect on the world for many years after that. So yeah, I think that's probably about the most useful thing you can do in relatively modern history. I'm sure there are other important things if you go back 2, 3, 4,000 years, but of course we don't think so much about those type of things.
Another thing that crossed my mind would be 9/11, because 9/11 not only was a tragedy for the people who died in the attack on the Twin Towers in New York, but also the result of that with state security in the US, the wars that resulted, weapons of mass destruction, invading and changing governments in the name of preventing terrorism. Maybe if 9/11 hadn't happened, maybe we wouldn't be in the situation we are today.
Yeah, it would avoid lots of problems, wouldn't it? Yeah.
What would you, yes, you listener, what would you like to prevent if you could go back in history and change something? We'd love to hear from you, so please send us a voice message. Practice your English, especially practice avoid and prevent. Make sure you're getting the grammar correct with those two. You can send us voice messages via the SpeakPipe service that you can find at SpeakPipe, speakpipe.com/Ingles podcast. Of course, there's also a link to that service on our webpage. Reza, how can they reach us by email?
You could write craig@inglespodcast.com or me, belfastreza@gmail.com. So voicemail, writing, there's nothing preventing you from getting in touch with us.
And if you'd like to avoid going to face-to-face classes in your academy this academic year, you could buy one of our courses on the Mansion Inglés store. Go to store.mansioningles.net.
As always, we'd like to thank all of you who are helping us by supporting this podcast through the Patreon scheme. That's Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com/Ingles. You'll find the details there. And those are the people who donate money. And by doing that, they get access to recent transcriptions of podcasts. For around $1.21 a month, the 21 is for tax. Some people support us with that donation. We'd like to thank all of them, but we haven't got time to thank everybody because it's quite a lot of people. So we'll just thank our new Patreon supporters, who are
Carlos Fernandez Garcia, Luis Andrea M. Coronado, Jose R.S., Paulo Cachadinha, Rafael Matallana, Stephanie, Juan Andrés Cuyas Hernandez, Mircha Ortiz, Jesus Santander, and Rodrigo Delgado.
So, as we say, if you would like to help us with a donation and get your transcriptions, just have a look at patreon.com/Ingles podcast and follow the instructions there. Craig, what have we got on next week's episode?
Well, next week, Reza, we're looking at the difference between some more words. Suppose, assume, and guess. Those three words often confused. What's the difference between suppose, assume, and guess? You'll find out next week. Thank you for listening this week. Please stay safe. Take care of yourself. It's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
The music in this podcast is by Pits. The track is called See You Later.